It does look as though there has been some degree of progress. The Deputy Prime Minister of Ukraine went to Brussels yesterday at the same time as the European Parliament passing a resolution promising basically higher levels of engagement with Kiev and to do whatever they could to try and make the process of signing this deal come into being. And at the same time, the opposition has said that they will talk with the government as long as it follows an agreed roadmap with EU moderators overseeing the whole process, rather than this sort of vague notion of a round table that the President has suggested. So it does look as though there is some degree of progress, but the people on the street are not going to leave until they know that that progress has been made good on, Natalie.
Certainly understand. And meantime, what is this continued protest that we're seeing here, and you can tell how entrenched they are? What is it doing to the economy there in Kiev?
Well, I mean, it's interesting, actually, just to talk, first of all, about this protest. Since the violence that we saw once again on the streets on Wednesday morning early, it seems as though more and more people have come to the square, and we were walking around last night, and it was fuller than we'd ever seen it. At midnight, it was absolutely packed. Now, I don't know whether that was the mild weather or whether it was the sort of sense of anger at once again this sort of level of violence and crackdown from the police on the streets. In terms of the economy, of course, this has a short-term impact on an economy that is already in crisis. It is the economy that is the backdrop to this whole problem, the fact that Mr. Yanukovych desperately needs a cash injection in order to stave off default. The currency itself looks as though it's, you know, there is a possibility that the currency could crash. This is why he made a tour to Russia and China in the last week to try and raise money from them. This is why he's talking to the IMF, but the trouble is the IMF will impose some very tough sort of requisites that he doesn't know whether he can fulfill in the short term. So he is stuck between a rock and a hard place, and I think what Mr. Yanukovych wants is to be able to cherry pick, to keep good relations with the European Union as well as with Russia. And the question is, Natalie, whether Mr. Putin